there, welcome back to my channel, Tales from the Fifth House. My name is Beasley B. Knowing, and today my goal is to leave you with a channel message through different forms of kind of divination. So I'm going to use some tarot cards, some oracle cards, and some dice. And again, my goal is for you to leave here with some valuable, insightful information that you can take along to help you on your journey. So thank you so much for being here with me today and for tuning in. Please note that tarot is timeless, so it can pick up on like past, present, and future energy. If you're listening to this and you're like, that doesn't really sound like my story, then it likely isn't. However, I do encourage everyone to listen with an open heart and an open mind, as this may not be your story, but perhaps it is related to someone in your collective, and you can take some information from here and pass it along to the person who does need to hear it. I've already shuffled and cleansed the cards, but I'm going to do a little bit of shuffling right now so I can connect with everyone who's viewing energy. If you would like to set your own intentions for what you hope to gain from this reading, now would be the perfect time to do so. You can even pause. And I'm going to shuffle a few times to hopefully check in with our energy. So again, feel free to set those personal intentions or just sit back and see what message the collective has for us. And again, I say us because as a member of the collective and just as a tarot reader in general, I notice that a lot of the messages that I deliver are more often than not things that I also personally just need to hear myself. And I think that's just a beautiful reminder of how connected we all are, and part of the reason why I really love this work. So thank you again to everyone who has tuned in. Please let me know if this resonates. You can leave a comment, a like. It's all appreciated. So we're going to get started. This one card kind of fell out while I was shuffling. I'm being called to take it. I'm going to leave it turned over like this. I'm going to take two more cards to see what is the message that Spirit has for the collective today. What is the message that we need to hear right now? Okay, these cards don't want to show themselves today, which is interesting. They're all falling face down. I'm going to take one more. Yep, spoke too soon. But the last card out is the Death card, and it did want to show itself, so I'll leave that here. I do like to take note of just like how the cards fell, which cards came out when. At the bottom of the deck, we have the Five of Cups here, so I am going to take that. Ooh, and underneath that, we have the Nine of Swords, and I'm being called to take that. Ooh, and I'm also being called to take the Seven of Swords. Okay, I think a story is coming here. So just with the cards that did show themselves, we ended on the Death card. Death in the tarot, a lot of people get scared of this card, and I definitely understand why, but I tend to love when I see this card because death means change. It's transformation, essentially, and I feel like oftentimes changes are seen as like difficult, but we all need to change and grow. We can't have, or like with every ending, I should say, is a new beginning. And that's why when I see this card, I get excited rather than scared, because I know if there is going to be a death or an ending in my life, then something more beautiful, more aligned is kind of taking its place. The energy, I'll just say the energy, because I feel like the energy of the people who might be tuning into this video is one of regret. The Five of Cups typically represent like feelings of regret. This is literally someone who's like crying over spilled milk, essentially. She's sitting here, she's like reflecting, her cups are kind of knocked down, knocked over. Traditionally, there's usually two upright cups, but I noticed in this, all the cups are knocked over, and there's this like really big cup that's still kind of like pouring out, but I'm noticing like there are flowers coming out of that. And I've never noticed that before on this card, but I feel like the message is if there are some regrets that you have, if you've been mulling over decisions you've made and things of the past, Spirit is trying to remind you that any perceived regrets that you have might be an indication that it's time for you to like dig a little deeper in those experiences and really kind of try to find the lesson, the beauty in those experiences. Because we do have these cards or these flowers that are like, these flowers that are like around this spilled kind of cup. Cups also have to do with our emotions, our feelings, things of that nature. So I'm feeling a really heavy energy, but I feel like Spirit is saying, like, remember or try to extract the good from these experiences, the lessons. This could be like experiences with deceitful, deceptive people. Maybe you've been dealing with betrayal, as indicated here by the Seven of Swords. This is usually like a sneaky energy. This woman is literally like trying to like sneak away with extra swords, and I feel like this has been causing members of the collective lots of anxiety. We have the Nine of Swords here. Lots of anxiety. There's yellow on both of these cards. I think of the solar plexus, and that has to do with like our confidence, our self-esteem. So maybe your self-esteem has kind of taken a hit by some more negative experiences that you might have had recently. But again, I feel like the message is, one, things are changing. So that is going to change, with the Death card being the last card out and the only card that wanted to show itself at the start. I think change is near, and I think it starts with you kind of dissecting some of those feelings that you have. Oftentimes, I think we forget that feelings are meant to be fleeting. They're meant to be felt and then let go of. I have several Cancer placements, so this is a lot easier said than done for me, as Cancers are really known to kind of exist in the emotional body a lot. But I will say, as someone with many Cancer placements, including my Moon and Mars, reflection for me has been super helpful, especially on those more painful experiences in my life, because I've learned really valuable lessons from them, and I feel like that's the message here. But now let's turn over these cards. So we have the Five of Wands in reverse and the Three of Pentacles. So yeah, I'm really getting the feeling that this has to do with like relationships, connections. Again, this could be like platonic, romantic, even like family. And at the bottom of the deck now we have the Lovers. So yeah, it's really coming in strong. You might have been dealing with like competition with people, conflict. Five of Wands usually represents like conflict, competition with people, being at odds. These women are literally fighting with their wands on this card. So perhaps you've been experiencing that. I'm just getting like really heavy energy. We have two fives. Fives in numerology do kind of denote change. So again, I feel like the overall message is that this energy is changing. And perhaps you're moving closer to the Three of Pentacle type of relationships. These are like mentorships or apprenticeships where you are working with like-minded people, collaborating with people who are aligned, who have the same vision as you or want to help you carry out your vision. And I feel like that's the change that Spirit is hoping that you move towards. But I think it starts with you reflecting on some of these connections, these experiences, really trying to understand why they didn't work out, why they left you feeling how you feel, so that you don't repeat those same mistakes, so that these flowers can kind of bloom from these negative experiences. And those flowers will just be more members of your soul tribe. If you were dealing with people who didn't appreciate you, didn't respect you, etc., etc., again, take what resonates and leave the rest. I feel like Spirit is replacing those energies, those deceitful, kind of sneaky, betrayal energies that left you feeling really anxious and insecure even, and just not very confident in yourself. That's changing, and you're going to be more aligned with people that you can learn and grow with. And I think that's really beautiful. And I'm trying to see if there's a question. For some reason, I want to pull one more card. And I'm thinking on a question to ask. I want to pull a card for this Five of Cups. And like, how can you overcome these feelings? Because again, the energy is very like kind of heavy, and it's both in your mind and your heart. It's not just one or the other. I feel like many of the collectives have experienced some tough situations with people that they care about, people that they even love, respect, admire, etc. And I just want to know more about this. So tell me more about the Five of Cups. Or let's say, what is the lesson that we're meant to learn from this? That's what I think I want to ask. Oh, I love it. And right out, we have the King of Wands. And on the bottom, we have the Fool. So I feel like the lesson here that we're meant to learn from looking back on these experiences, and I'll just hold this up. I feel like the message is that, you know, like you light your own fire, right? We have the King of Wands here. King of Wands is known to be very passionate, very fiery, knows what he wants and goes out and gets it. And perhaps you've been accepting less than what you deserve in some of your connections and partnerships, and Spirit is kind of reminding you to take the lesson from that, is that if someone's giving you less than you deserve and you were able to walk away, yes, it's painful, but do know you're only bringing yourself closer up to the things that do light your fire. More importantly, it reminds you that you have to light your own fire. No one source of happiness or love, etc., should ever be outside of themselves, because what if it goes away? Then you don't have anything. And I feel like Spirit is just reminding you to hold your own torch, kind of. I know I'm really hearing that song, like, come on, baby, light my fire. But, like, light your own fire. Like, I think this has to do a lot with confidence again, because we do have, like, the yellow here. I think you're just being called to build up your own confidence. Find those things that make you passionate. Let's pull one more. What's the lesson to learn from this? Oop, card fell. Oh, yeah. And we have the Lovers, which was at the bottom of the deck, but now wants to show itself. Yeah, and I think this is about choices, right? So on this card, the Lovers card, we have an angel here. And what I historically believe is like a depiction of Adam and Eve. Sometimes it looks different, but here's what it looks like on this deck. And I feel like Spirit is just reminding the collective that we all have choices on what we will and won't accept. And the minute we choose to walk away, you know, from things that no longer serve us, things that we don't want to accept, things that are less than what we deserve, we are immediately aligning ourselves, telling the universe what it is that we want and what it is that we deserve by rejecting what we don't. And I think sometimes we forget that and we get caught up on like, oh, well, you know, I miss this person, I love this person, etc., etc. And yes, that all makes sense for human beings. You know, connection, human connection is super important to our well-being. But accepting less than what you deserve is never wise, and it's never gonna kind of be worth it in the long run. And I feel like Spirit is reminding you that, like, you always have the power. You are always this Knight of Wands who can, you know, like, I'll burn this whole shit down. I'll burn this whole shit down if you're not getting what you want and what you need. And you should have no regrets from having to walk away from any person, place, or thing that can't meet your needs and can't do what it is that you need for them to do. So I'm going to leave the tarot there. Right now I'm going to pull some oracle cards. These are my soul coaching oracle deck. They're cards, very simple cards with some words and affirmations. And I'm going to use this for what advice the Spirit have for the collective right now. What's the advice for the collective, Spirit? Advice for the collective. Okay, purification. I love it. And it landed right on the Five of Cups and the Five of Wands. We'll get into that in a second. More advice, Spirit. More advice, Spirit. Ooh. Okay, I'll have to go grab that card. Get one more card, Spirit. All right. We have freedom. And let me grab that card if I can. Kind of fell a little crazy there. 1 second. All right, awesome. Oh, I love it. And we have sanctuary. So just to read. Lots of blues too, so perhaps like there's something you need to say to the people that hurt you, or just need to express. It doesn't even have to be to the people that hurt you, but I just getting the message that something needs to be kind of expressed here. But let's start with purification. My energy field is being cleansed of all that I do not need. And how synchronistic is that? It's literally a broom sweeping things out. And I feel like maybe you're in that stage right now and it's, you know, causing you a lot of anxiety. You're feeling regretful. Maybe you've had to walk away again from people and places or things. But again, if they don't serve you, then they gotta go. And while yes, you can be sad about that, you should never feel guilty for walking away from things that you don't need, because it's only going to bring you closer to what it is that you want. I feel like Spirit is reminding you that you are your own sanctuary, which is kind of what I was getting from this particular depiction of the Knight of Wands. It says, I'm divinely guided, gently and lovingly, but this woman or figure is kind of like wrapped up in this cocoon, and she's safe and protective, and perhaps like that's the kind of space you're in right now, and it's okay to be in that space where you're protecting your peace, you're making sure that you're good, and if someone can't add value to that, then perhaps in right now, this stage in your life, there's no space for them, and that's perfectly okay. But I feel like all of this is leaving you closer to that sense of freedom. We did have the Fool card here too. It's giving me very similar vibes. It says, boundless freedom surges through me. So again, this might feel super painful right now. You might be like, dang, is everybody like in this Seven of Swords kind of Five of Wands energy? And the answer is no. Perhaps you've been working through some things that were kind of there were just lessons you needed to learn about those types of people so that you can move forward and be more aligned to your soul tribe and the people that you are supposed to be around. But I feel like freedom awaits you when you like make peace with these changes that you've had to make in your life, and you understand that they were for the better. All right, so before we close out, I'm going to roll some story cubes and then end with the astrological dice just for some more insight and messages from Spirit. So I'm going to take this one because it kind of flipped out my hand and it landed on the key. And then we have kind of what I think is like a compass. And then we have an L, and it's upside down. And again, I always say this card for me is like, are we going to focus on our losses or our lessons? And I feel like Spirit is really making that clear that if you operate from a mindset that everything happens for a reason and things are going the way that they are, then there's never really a loss. There are only lessons. And when you're able to reflect on things from that lens, like, okay, yes, this happened, but what can I learn from it? You not only kind of shift yourself out of that like victim mentality, and I do get a lot of that energy, which is not wrong. Sometimes we are victims, but you don't ever want to stay in that energy, and you want to kind of move into a more empowered space of like, yes, this may have happened to me. Yes, I experienced this thing, this negative, shitty experience, but here's what I learned from it, and I'll never go through that again because now I know exactly what I deserve, or I know exactly what I'm worth. I know my value. I know who I am, and I'll never have to accept that again. And I feel like this is a huge key to you, and I think it's a key that's actually going to align you. It kind of felt like here, or I placed it there. It's going to align you closer to people who do see your inherent value, who do see what you have to give, and are going to kind of celebrate that with you and be able to do the same for you as well. But that might require you, again, with this compass, like opening kind of expanding your perspective, opening your eyes, looking in new directions for friendships or partnerships where you may not have looked before. It's beautiful. We're going to end with some astrological dice. If any of the signs that come out are prominently kind of aspected in your chart, then that can be like extra confirmation for you. But really, it's more so about the energy behind the signs and the sign themselves. So let's see what we have. We have Gemini, we have Pisces, and we have Aquarius. So we have a little bit of fixed energy, we have and mutable energy, which is funny too. Aquarius landed on the Three of Pentacles. Aquariuses are kind of known to be like the humanitarians of the zodiac. Very innovative. They're able to like think of things that help the greater good, and I feel like you're connecting with more people like that, more like-minded people, because you might be that type of person. But it comes from like leaving all of this behind, like stepping out of that Five of Wands. Stop being around people who are in competition with you, or feeling like maybe you are around people who you feel in competition with, and sneaky behavior and things with that, like you're moving away from that, people who make you feel insecure, etc. You are dissecting with the Five of Cups those feelings, and you're learning from them. We do have Gemini energy here. Gemini is like the perpetual student. They're always curious, they're always learning, and I feel like you're being called to do that. And we also have Pisces energy here. Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. So they're kind of like all the signs together, which sounds like a mess, and I'm sure it is. Shout out to all the Pisces. I have Pisces placements too. I'm a Pisces rising, so I am talking about myself. I am also a mess, so no worries there. But I feel like the message here, when I see Pisces energy in this particular spread, I feel like Pisces are kind of known to be like martyrs. Like they love, and I say this with no judgment, because again, I have these tendencies as well with Pisces in my chart. But like Pisces just love kind of sacrificing themselves for others, and like knowing like, well, I'm helping the greater good. But I feel like you're moving out of that energy because you deserve more. Maybe that's what many people in the collective are realizing. Like something has to change. If you've been dealing with sneaky people, people who are making you feel insecure, etc., something has to change, and that change has to be you. And the best way to make that change is to really kind of dissect what these experiences with people like this have taught you, and what you can take from them, and that wisdom that you can take, and that discernment that you now can take when you encounter people like that. And you can start to align with the relationships, connections, partnerships, again, take what resonates, that are actually going to feed your soul, that are actually going to make you feel more secure, make you feel more confident. And just being open, and knowing that that change is coming for you, and not being super attached to these people, places, and things that you are well aware don't serve you anymore, and kind of severing those ties so that you can move forward with who and what does. So I think I'm going to end it there. I do hope that this message resonates for you, and that it does reach the people who need to hear it. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today, and I hope I will see you in the future. Bye.